Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Afi and I'm back again with another video. So this video, I don't know, the thing is that I have just been going through it, I feel like, and because of that, I'm having a bit of like a block. Not really a block of like I don't want to post anymore, but just more of like everything that I had planned to talk about just doesn't feel like anything that I should talk about. Um, so I'm in a very weird place right now. I'm actually doing this video a day before it goes out, which is mad because usually I do my videos like a week in advance and stuff like that when I'm on top of things. But school has really been getting the best of me, life has been getting the best of me. Like, I've just been feeling tired all the time. Um, very little motivation to do anything other than attend classes because I have to attend classes. I can't do my exams um, without participation. So I have to attend classes, but I'm just feeling very bad. So essentially, I wanted to talk about how to be a leader. That's something that I was reading a Bible plan, and in the Bible plan, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like when I went through it, it was just so many good lessons. So I decided to do a very short video about how to be a good leader, and leading by Jesus' example, basically, because I think that was the point of it. Like, if you want to be a good leader, basically take an example from Jesus. And yeah, so that was really cool. And so I'm going to share a bit of the knowledge here, and I highly recommend for you to get the Bible up and do the Bible in 1 year. I think that's like the best way to finish the Bible, but it's also the devotions have such good lessons for, I feel like, every single day. It's just something that you need. Yeah, so anyway, how to lead like Jesus. The first thing is leadership is about influence, and a point that they brought up very well is that all of us are leaders in our small capacities or in our big capacities. I feel like sometimes we think you have to be a president to be a leader, or you have to be like part of the student council or part of whichever big organization, or you have to be a class rep to be a leader. But that's not true. You don't have to be a group leader to be a leader. I think essentially you can lead in the small ways that you can. If you have younger siblings, then you are your siblings' leaders. And so it's very important to remember that everywhere that you go, you hold the position of a leader. And there's somebody who's watching you, someone who's trying to learn from you, whether you know it or not. And I feel like for me, I've gotten to situations where so many people have been like, I genuinely watch how you are, and it's inspiring or stuff like that. And I'm just like, what? And it's so weird because in my head, I'm like, I don't have anything together. I'm out here just like scrambling and trying to find stuff. And yet this person is looking at me and telling me that like I am inspiring them, and the way I choose to lead is like inspirational. So that's just something I want to put across. We are all leaders, remember that. Something that's important in leadership is prayer and worship in difficulty and success. So the thing about worship is putting God first. So everything that you do, you have to make sure that you're putting God first. I have this video on fasting. I think it's on my Instagram. And I talk about how like you fast in order to make room for God, and then you worship to fill that time with God. And so so prayer and worship in times of difficulty and success actually help you so much as a leader. So when you're going through it, the best thing to do is to pray, and when everything is going well, you pray about it and you tell God about it. Because I think sometimes we have this idea that we only pray when something is bad. Like if your friend is going through it, you tell them, I'll pray for you. But then when everything is like happy and stuff, we don't think to say, I'll pray for you, or like, we'll give gratitude or whatever. But it's so important to give gratitude when things are a success. And it's very important to pray when you're in difficulty. I feel like sometimes when you're in difficulty, the last thing you want to do is pray. Like, I don't know how it works, But sometimes when you're in a really bad place, you don't want to pray, and yet prayer is what you really need in that moment. And so, yeah, just a little reminder that you need that. And something else is you need to love God. I have a few points under love God. The first thing is when you're leading, you need to lead from who you are more than from your position of like power. So we've watched all those movies where somebody is like, I'm your boss, so you have to listen to me. And then there's somebody else who basically, and this is, I feel like, every single movie. Like, there's this one person who's really, really mean, trying to assert their position, and then there's the other person who is not mean, is so kind, and people want that other person, and they like this other person, and blah blah blah. And so that's just an example of wow. That's just an example of leading from who you are more than from your position. Because if you are a good person, if you are the kind of person who serves others, because we know leaders are supposed to serve, if you're that kind of person, then essentially people are going to follow you, and people are going to want to follow you instead of you forcing people to follow you from a place of insecurity. The second part is be gentle and unassuming. Um, the thing is that sometimes when you're a leader, and I think I see this being said a lot about women in leadership, like a woman either has to be hardcore and mean, or she's gonna be too soft and she'll be walked all over. And something that's important to remember is to be gentle and unassuming. I think usually, and I don't want to make this as like sex versus sex thing, like a gender versus gender thing, but I think sometimes it's more acceptable for a man to be like unassuming than for a woman to be. And essentially, the woman will get the brunt of it if she ever was, while the man would not. But something that everybody needs to remember is, as a leader, you need to be gentle and unassuming. And if someone is going through something, you need to understand what they're going through and not be mean about it. Don't be too stuck in like, this is protocol or whatever. Like, that's not it, And the third way is to avoid arrogance and ostentation. Basically, just be humble. You're a leader, everybody knows you're a leader. You don't have to be proud about it. You don't have to be walking here like you're on clouds. Like, humility is such an important trait, because then I feel like people do what they see. So if you're a leader and you are like proud and arrogant, then people in that area are probably gonna end up like you, and that's not a good thing. So humility is something that's so important. The fourth thing is have the courage to confront. So something that comes up in leadership is sometimes situations happen and you have to confront a situation. Like, somebody's going to do something that is wrong, somebody is going to abuse you, even like whatever is going to happen is going to happen. You have to remember to have courage to confront. Like, just because you're being gentle doesn't mean that you cannot confront somebody, but also remember to confront with love, not from a place of like fighting or accusing, but from a place of like correcting. The fifth thing is seek spiritual power. Something that's important here, actually, in this part, I think they even talked about David, like just seeking spiritual power and how important it is to pray every single time, every day. When you're about to take a decision, pray about it. When you're trying to find answers, pray about it. Like, just that whole thing. You need spiritual power. That's a thing. Like, as a person of religion, then you definitely believe in the spirit, and if you do, then you definitely need spiritual power, because a lot of things happen in the spirit world, and so that's something to remember. And the sixth thing is make prayer your number one priority. And this is basically just like going back to point 5 and point. Yeah, basically just going back to that, like, make prayer something that is your priority, not something that you stumble upon, like, I don't have anything to do now, so let me pray. It needs to be, I'm making time to pray because I want to get this and that and blah blah blah. So make prayer 100% your priority, because that will take you a very, very long way. And the last point is have an eternal perspective. And this is basically just like, don't think that your life is only physical, like this is the end. Like, you have to, when you're thinking about decisions as a leader, you need to have foresight. So you're making decisions now that are probably going to affect like 2 days from now, even, that seems so close, but like, 2 days from now, a week from now, a month from now, 3 months from now, stuff like that. make sure you're not making that decision of, like, there's this thing young people say, YOLO, you only live once. And usually it's used as a like as a way to do the wrong thing, or as a way to just make really, really questionable decisions. And I think it's important to remember that yes, you only live once, but you're not dying today. And because you're not dying today, like, some things need to be done for the future. And that is something that is so important to remember. So I hope you've enjoyed this really short video about how to be a good leader. I just felt like I wanted to do this just because. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.